Now today, I've just gotten all the parts, missing parts ordered for my little Colt 1877 nickel-plated dual action 41 caliber Thunderer with the mother of pearl original grips. Look how thick those are. Aren't those cool? They're really heavy too, and they have little inserts in them. Anyway, this gun weapon has been in my family for generations. What happened was, somewhere way back in history, the gun broke. And when it broke, one of my ancestors decided to try and fix it. And what he did was, he took out one of these screws right here that holds the trigger in, right there. And he also took out this sear screw, or not a sear screw, but this little screw here that goes in the bottom of the trigger guard and then up into here. So I went and ordered from COLT Parts. I ordered another screw right here. And you can see the new one in the back is not nickel plated. They don't have those anymore. But the screw fits perfectly, but it's just blued, which is no problem. So I got a new one of those. These were the parts that were missing. Was one little screw here, this little screw here were missing. The third thing that I replaced is the trigger spring. This is the original trigger spring as I found it inside the gun, because the gun was never taken apart before I took it apart. This was the problem right here, is a broken spring, and this is the new one, the new spring I got from COLT Parts here. So I'm going to put this whole weapon back together and then auction it, I think. Have it go to a good home. All the numbers match. And this will kind of give you an idea too. This is a either a trigger or a hammer screw. And this is the original, and you can see how it's nickeled right in there. This was the replacement that I bought. What I did was I bought the wrong one because the diagram wasn't that good. But I just wanted to show you the difference between the new blue plated screws and the original nickel plated. You can see right there. And of course I will, selling the gun, I will throw in the extra screw I have here, and I will also include the original trigger spring. It is a complicated weapon as far as the triggering right here, but all the pieces are really cool. It looks like they've put in little tiny widgets and things in here, and then they've either welded them in there and then ground them down. You can see this one has there's the original bluing on the back of the hammer, and if you look real close on the hammer, you can even see the original little tiny marks in it, because it's never been used really. And here's the loading gate, and this is the ejector with the ejector spring. All the springs are with it. There's the knurled dealie that holds the barrel in place. And all told, right here, a lot of these parts you can't, the bigger parts you can't get, I don't think. But all told, with all these parts right here, just the spare parts alone are probably $1,500. So I'm going to attempt to rebuild it, and all the COLT experts have told me, oh God, don't do that. You have to get an expert to do it. You have to get a COLT expert to do it, but they won't touch them. And the reason they won't touch them, what I've found is this, is that back in 1877, COLT did a brilliant job on their machining, but the one thing that they weren't very good at was tempering steel. Their spring steel right here. This is where they broke. Like this pup broke. You can see it broke. It broke right here. So what happens is a COLT expert or gunsmith gets the gun and he goes and replaces the trigger spring, except the trigger springs are naturally defective because they're not designed with the right type of metal of that time, and so they constantly had to refix them. So that's why they didn't want to fix them. But that's the only problem, is that little trigger spring right there. So I'm going to post this and take some pictures, and when I get it fixed and working, I'm going to auction it. They don't make 41 caliber shells for it anymore, and if they did, you can't use smokeless powder. You have to use black powder, because the smokeless powder, as I understand, puts out a lot more pressure, and this barrel, you can see the rifling and everything in here, this barrel is very, very thin. And even if I did get it to work and I had new shells for it, I wouldn't fire it. I'm interested in fixing it up and having it go to a good home. Okay.